Published 1730 EDT, the 14th of September 2017. Updated 1805 EDT, the 14th of September 2017. Faustino Asprilla is not very good at keeping the time. His life away from the pitch is a reflection of his existence on it, casual chaos, but there is one date Asprilla will never forget. September 17, 1997. It was 20 years ago this week that the Colombian scored a hat-trick in Newcastle United's 3-2 victory over Barcelona in the Champions League, one of the most memorable nights in the history of both the club and the competition. Faustino Asprilla relives the night he dazzled Barcelona for Newcastle on its 20th anniversary. His hat-trick fired United to a 3-2 win over Barcas' star-studded side in the Champions League. He celebrated his hat-trick with a cartwheel that remains pictured inside St James ParkBut. Here is a subplot which isn't so well known. Asprilla was very nearly dropped by manager Kenny Dalglish for the game. Why timekeeping? Of course. I missed a team meeting, he explains to Sportsmail ahead of the anniversary. Rumor has it he was with two women, a suggestion he has never denied. The manager was not happy at all. He fined me, but I was never good with things like this. The only time I ever turned up for training early was when the clocks went back and I didn't realize. So that game against Barcelona I didn't expect to play. When he named me in the team, I was surprised. But it was one of the biggest games in the club's history, the first in the Champions League. Alan Shearer was injured and Les Ferdinand had been sold, so they needed me. I was made for nights like this. Rewatch the match. The video Viva Asprilla captures every minute, and, after Tino leaves Miguel Angel Nadal and Michael Rezaga in his wake early in the game, you hear ITV commentator Brian Moore declare Asprilla might well be in the mood tonight. He wasn't wrong. On 22 minutes he latched onto a through ball from John Dahl Thomason, nicked it by goalkeeper Ruud Hesp and crashed to the turf in front of the Gallowgate end. A dive. No, I beat him to the ball. I was too quick, says Asprilla. I remember Pierluigi Collina, the referee, made me move the ball before White took the penalty, but I was never going to miss. It was 20 before half-time and 30 by the 49th minute. The second and third were very similar. Asprilla starts. Both times Keith Gillespie beat Sergi, one of the best full-backs in the world. But he was too fast. At top speed he was unstoppable. 2 crosses, 2 goals, both headers. Barcelona got 2 goals late on, but nothing was going to spoil it. Tino 3, Barcelona 2. It was amazing, one of the best nights of my career. My father was there and the fans were saying to him, "Thank you, thank you. You have brought us a present from God to Newcastle." So how did this flamboyant South American from the salsa dancing capital of Tuluá come to be on Tyneside if it wasn't for future England manager Fabio Capello? Asprilla might well have stayed in Italy. The former Colombia international was a neighbor to Newcastle teammate David Granola. He revealed he used to trick women to attend parties by saying Granola would be coming. Parma only sold me because Capello was arriving as manager and I was on the list of players he didn't want, recalls Asprilla, who signed for Kevin Keegan's Entertainers for £7.5 million in February 1996. Only Capello dumped Parma for Real Madrid and never came. But the deal was done with Newcastle and I signed in the snow. I thought Newcastle was by the sea and it'd be sailing yachts. I didn't know the water was dangerous, and there were no yachts. Today, the 47-year-old doesn't sail luxury boats, he rides horses, fires guns and hosts parties on his Tuluá ranch, from which he also farms sugarcane. The parties are not something new, a post-career indulgence. They were happening 20 years ago in the leafy and upmarket suburb of Woolsington, where French pin-up and teammate David Granola was a neighbor. There were many beautiful women in Newcastle, begins Asprilla. Asprilla said he was unsure why manager Kevin Keegan wasn't too happy about the party. Sometimes I tricked them by saying, "There is a party back at my house and Granola is there." They'd come back and be like, "Where is Granola?" "Ah, don't worry," he'd say, "he'll be back shortly." But we used to go out as a team all of the time and had an amazing spirit between us. Kevin Keegan wasn't too happy about the parties though. "I don't know why, we were having a good time." Asprilla was sold back to Parma 2 years after joining Newcastle. When he returned the keys of the house which had belonged to the club, they found bullet holes in the walls. But of all the shots he fired during his time on Tyneside, the 3 which hit their target on September 17, 1997 have left the biggest mark. Now 47, the party lifestyle is far from over and he still hosts parties on his tourage. "Since the day I've never had to buy a drink in Newcastle," he says. "There is a giant image of my cartwheel celebration from that night inside St James Park. If you look closely, you can see where I signed it when I came back many years ago. Everywhere I go the people want to talk about Barcelona, and why not?" Indeed, for that night, Asprilla's timing was perfect.